Following my ill-conceived trip to the island of Senja in northern Norway in May of 2025, I headed back to the Dolomites. This was my 5th trip to the Dolomites since 2017, and on each of the previous trips, I made the drive out to a small village called Santa Magdalena, which was located in the Funes Valley in South Tyrol. On my first trip in 2017, I thought I would just drive up and grab a couple of shots of the church under the mountain peaks and then be on my way. But once I arrived, I didn't want to leave. I sat out on the steep mountainside overlooking the beautiful valley and became mesmerized by the clinking of the cowbells, the clang of the church bell calling parishioners to Mass, and the incredible light on the cliff faces of Frecheta, Sasvagais, and Socheta towering above. On each of my subsequent trips, I began to wonder if I could actually drive on some of the small mountain roads above the valley, since many of the area roads were only open to residents. I stared jealously up at the farms on the mountainside and wondered, not for the first time, who gets to live there? As I generally only had a few hours to shoot the valley, I would head back to my rental thinking that someday, if I got the chance, I would love to spend a week in Val di Funes. Look at that. Never been up here before. Is there a mirror? These little wildflowers in the foreground, and then this. I was having a bad night a minute ago, and suddenly it just got amazing with these colors. Ridge is just lighting up behind me. Haven't even gotten to my Airbnb yet. Great night. I don't remember if I came up this far the very first time. I don't think I did. This is way up on top. Is this right? Looks right. There's another little village over here. Not really a village, just a group of barns and homes together. Almost there. Should be the next farm on my wow. Should be the next. I can't believe they drive past this every day. Next farm on the right. I think that's the roof right in front of me.
In 200 meters, your destination will be on the right.
Google thinks so too. Is this it? Pineider Hof? Pineider Hof. Yeah, this is it. Alright. Whoa. Frickin' A. Let me a little wider. Look at that. This is my Airbnb. Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
Your destination is on the right.
Wait, do they have parking there too? That's crazy. It's like a hotel. Pineider Hof is a working farm owned and operated by the Obexer family, which includes Leo and Rosemarie and their children Franziska, Thomas, Martin, his wife Miriam, and the grandparents Peter and Maria. The farm has recently been renovated and now includes 4 beautiful apartments, some of which have spectacular views of the valley below. When I found this farm on Airbnb, I jumped on it immediately and booked 7 nights in the Rittnerhorn room. It seemed perfect for families with kids, as the playground that they built for the grandkids has one of the best views to be found in all of Italy. The Pineider Hof is primarily a dairy farm, and most of their income seemed to come from milk from their cows, who seem to be enjoying some of the best pastures and views in the world. Since I wasn't able to do any shopping before arriving, I ordered a farm breakfast on my first morning, and Miriam delivered a delicious breakfast which included farm fresh eggs from their chickens, along with milk from their cows, fresh rolls, and bacon. Both Martin and Miriam were amazing hosts and were always on hand to check to see if I needed anything and to answer any questions I might have. My time at the farm was magical, and if you're looking for an amazing experience in the heart of the Dolomites, I give the Pineider Hof my highest recommendation. The link to the farm's webpage is in the description below. On my way back up to the farm, this turn up here is bonkers.
In 400 meters, turn left onto Via Coller Strasse.
The farm is located off of SP 163, which is also known as Via Coller or Collerstrasse. This tiny one-lane mountain road winds its way from San Pietro in Val di Funes high up into the mountains, where other roads will take you to the north towards Brunico or south towards Alta Badia. This route seems very popular with motorcycles, as over 200 motorcycles a day might cruise by on a typical weekend. The road can be nerve-wracking at times, as oncoming traffic is often hidden behind sharp corners. Things can get really interesting if you are in an area with no pullout and suddenly you meet a large vehicle coming the other way. Eventually, someone needs to back up to a pullout before traffic can start moving again. After taking a day to settle in and to drive down to Bolzano to replace the GoPro I left behind in Norway, I set off on the morning of May 31st to explore the mountains northeast of the farm. I'm going to put the GoPro through its paces. The light's really hazy today, so it's a perfect day just to go out and explore and not try to get any photographs.
Kilometers.
I drive out of the farm facing this way, so I don't have to make a U-turn on that crazy road. You cannot see shite. Look at this. I hope this GoPro keeps working. Keep working, GoPro. As I headed north, I came across another beautiful area that seemed to be similar to Alpe di Susi in that there were cabins scattered across meadows with epic views of Sostaputia across the valley. I have never been up there before, and I promised myself that I would be back. Maybe this right here is the backside of Siceda and those peaks. This thing's incredible. You got all of this stuff just now. Just stunning up here. As you come over the pass, SP 163 turns into SP 29. As sketchy as SP 163 was, the roads were even sketchier over the pass as I headed out to shoot the Milky Way over Cime on May 31st. This looks extremely sketch. Duh!
Continue on Landstrasse 174 for 5 kilometers.
out. Sketch. My adventures in Cime were in my previous episode, so if you missed it, please feel free to check it out at the link in the description. Just looked at the radar, there's a pretty heavy cell headed this way, straight ahead. Should be maybe getting some hail in just a little bit. If it keeps heading right towards us. There we go. Wow, like dime sized. If you come to the Dolomites in early summer, you can definitely expect thunderstorms to be part of your daily schedule. In my case, the rain moved in on June the 2nd and pretty much stuck around off and on for the rest of the week I was there. On rainy days, when clouds were socked in and the views of the peaks and valleys were buried in clouds, I would teach my online class, write in my journal, and pretty much just take it easy. While typical visitors to the Dolomites might be bummed out by the rain, photographers know that rain will always lead to clearing storm conditions in the mountains. And clearing storms are ideal for time lapses. Taking the path down from the farm to the hiking trail, which is going to dive through these trees and then pop me out right above that church. Just 10 minutes from the Pineider Hof is a trail which cuts through the forest to the classic viewpoint overlooking the Chiesa di Santa Magdalena below. There are two main locations that are popular with photographers in Val di Funes. The first is the spot where I came out from the trail overlooking the valley with the Chiesa di Santa Magdalena under the foot of the enormous ridgeline. I have shot from this mountainside overlooking the valley many times before, as there are several compositions depending on where you set up, some placing the church higher into the frame against the trees and the mountains, and others from up above, overlooking the entire valley. The second is a spot on the valley floor directly in front of the St. Johann Chapel. This particular chapel has become iconic as it is isolated in front of a ridge of trees with peaks towering high above in the background. Several years ago, when this chapel became popular on Instagram, huge crowds began to show up, and the owners of the meadow surrounding the church were finally forced to put up a fence and a viewing area. In 2025, you can still get your shot of the chapel, but from much farther away using the new viewing area. It's starting to rain just a little bit. I'm gonna go around and see where this trail goes. I think I might be able to hook up with the road that comes down by the farm. But there's a gate. In addition to those two locations, on this trip I discovered a trail that leads away from the familiar mountainside location and plunges into the forest. As you emerge from the forest, there are a couple of locations for photographers that offer more views of both the Chiesa di Santa Magdalena and St. Johann Chapel. In one of these locations, just before the trail begins heading back down into the village, you can get both churches into the frame under the huge cliffs above. Taking off for Lago Limedes. I don't know if I'm gonna have any color when I get there. I'm leaving a little late. I was gonna leave at 3, and then I looked at all my apps and it's just a cloud.
Continue on SP 163 for 5 kilometers.
I got up at 4:30 and it said
This route avoids road closures on Landstrasse 37. You're on the fastest route. You will arrive at 6:54 a.m.
6:54 is way after sunrise, so I'm probably going to miss some light here. But I'll give it my best shot. One of the other spots I was really hoping to shoot on this trip was Lake Limedes, which was a 2-hour drive back towards Cime. I had attempted to shoot this lake in the autumn of 2022, but after hiking all of the way up there, I discovered that this lake dries up in late summer or early autumn. By the time I arrived in early October, there was no water to be seen anywhere. I tried again in May of 2024, but it was too early in the season and the lake was still frozen solid. So this year, I had high hopes as I made the 2-hour drive to the trailhead. I was worried about the light as I had a late start and the sun had a bit of an orange cast in the east, as if a forest fire had been burning nearby. My guess at the time was that the hazy orange light might be the result of the volcano down to the southwest. When I arrived, I parked my car near the Col Gallina Refugio and began the hike up to the lake. The hike was not too long, but it was a bit of a challenge as all of the recent rain made the trail very muddy and I had to fight to keep my footing, especially on the way back down. This might be something I try again in the future. If you do it in early June, you gotta leave it like 3 o'clock if you're 2 hours away. Even if I got here at 5, the clouds were just completely blocking the sun. I looked on my way in, there was just no light up here at all. And then the sun finally came out, but it's so harsh and hazy. And even though there's more clouds moving in, there's just a lot of wind on the lake. It's kind of gross. I could hang around for some clouds, but I think I'm going to take off. I was a bit disappointed by the conditions at Lake Limedes, but the views I passed on the way back to Val di Funes were absolutely spectacular. I probably would have taken a few more photos if I had more time, but my time at the Pineider Hof was now at an end, and it was time to head back to Munich before catching my flight back home. I wish my trip was longer, but I was looking forward to returning to the Midwest to do some storm chasing, and the conditions look promising this year. If you'd like to see how my 2025 storm chasing season went, please feel free to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you won't miss an episode. Before ending this episode, here are a few shots from my amazing time in the Dolomites and Val di Funes.